actually have the pleasure to welcome a full Emirati panel. It's our first of the past 2 days. I would love to just let you know we have headsets like this. If you'd like to hear what they're saying directly, please wave and we'll come to you with a headset. Okay? Thank you, and I leave you in the good hands of our moderator.
I think it's working. All right. Okay. First of all, it's such a pleasure to moderate a session with young minds, Emiratis that are actually exploring the AI in general and what can be done within this domain, this exciting domain. I always say when they ask me about Space 42, I say I have the privilege to work on the final invention from the final frontier. So this, in my opinion, is the final invention. And it's really truly a pleasure to sit down with you. Let me start with a general question, and we'll walk through all four of you. I want to know what drew you to AI? What was the reason that made you actually get into this AI? And growing into the within the UAE, I know that we are as a culture we are very digitized. We have had the systems, we've had everything since we were young. So, well, since you were young, we didn't have that much technology in our age. So, what drew you into AI, and what keeps you excited about working in this domain? Let's start with you.
Thank you, Hasan. So, just for introduction, my name is Mohammed Alsuwaidi. I'm within G42 group. So what took me into AI is the vision of our leadership. I remember 18 years back when the UAE was still in paperwork. There was no application, there was no technology out there. That's where the digitalization journey has started to the UAE. What really impressed me that we are nowadays, everything could be sorted out within applications. Now the new visions of our leaders and of our president is that moving towards AI, having that AI capability within the UAE, helping our country, helping our people by utilizing that AI. So that really was what took me into AI and starting in AI, and actually being one of the first, the touch points is business continuity and AI. Okay. Not many people have that knowledge or have the leverage to get that knowledge and combine between business continuity and AI, or even in other fields like HR or IT or finance. So I think it's a leverage for us to learn and to be a pioneer in AI and business continuity.
Great. Khaled?
Test. So my name is Khaled AlMarri from G42 Inception. To me personally, I think why now? AI personally is the domain now. And we as Emiratis, we come from a country that turns vision into reality, and it's the time to give back to this country through innovation. Also, AI is it connects both data, creativity, and human potential in a way that serves this country.
Very good, very good. Shamma?
Yes, so this is Shamma representing Presight today. Is it clear? Okay. So personally for me, it was a leadership ambition. And I think the UAE is one of the countries that has, launched AI strategies, if not one of the first countries, the first country. So, aligning with the vision of leadership and cascading this to the UAE nationals, it only makes sense that we drive and take ownership and run this AI era rather than just participating in it. And this is why I wanted to be one of the people that leads on this and bring value and impact to the country.
Great.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Afra Almusayebi and I'm representing Khazna today. I think all of their answers are equally as inspirational and I agree with all of them. I want to share a personal story. I guess that's how I can relate on how I got into AI. I was at university at 2022 and I was doing my senior project. And I've already designed a quadcopter drone. It was meant for agriculture. Everything was fine. But back then, quadcopters and robotic arms, they were the norm, believe it or not. And I was looking for the surprise kick, the wow factor. And then I decided to draw in a code that will use image recognition to define whether the plant is healthy or not. And it was just a few lines at that time. And it completely transformed the project capability, and the project transformation. So I drew witness firsthand to how the power of AI can transform whatever is normal to something that's far more advanced at a record time. And that made me stand out. And from then I was like, this thing actually works and it's amazing. And followed by that, I've joined Khazna. And believe it or not, even though AI has been for a long time, we've started building data centers for AI as soon as last year. And now we can't just stop. We keep on going because the world realizes, just like I did a few years ago, that the benefit really outweighs on how we can develop further. And I think from there, it stood true testimony what our leadership mean when they prioritize AI for this nation and the true potential of what AI can do.
It's all great questions, but I'll come back to the same question again. I want to know, through growing up in the UAE, in this digitized world, did it give you an advantage to get into the domain of AI? Did it have a specific factor that, you know, being born and raised here within this culture, exchanging what you have to exchange through all the universities, the multinationalities that you have around you, all the education level that you have, all the tools and systems that you have, was it able to actually help you or give you an advantage while you were actually learning the AI?
Definitely, I can pick this up first, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for sure, okay, starting off the top, that's spot on. How do we relate to that? You are in a nation where you're basically given the tools from day zero. Back in 2017, when the first AI minister was appointed, that didn't just come as a title or a shock to the world. That came as a statement that we're putting AI first. From there, we started receiving AI materials up into your education. You're introduced to that in your school level. You're taught the potential. Then you're taught to apply it. And then you get the privilege to use it first. So definitely, I mean, it is because of this nation, it's because of what we're enabled or provided to do, we are capable to basically leverage this and advance UAE as a nation to lead.
So it comes by default. You feel like you've already been prepared to actually adapt to AI through the system through the academic system that you went through, correct? Khaled, on the other hand. Now, if I give you a bit more specific question, you currently work in Inception and you're working on large language models as well, correct? So you moved from theoretically or academically applying AI into gaining the expertise to actually work on such sophisticated model. Tell me a bit about that journey and what have you done to actually transform yourself, transform your capability to be able to work in such domain or field?
To be honest, I was so proud working on such an Arabic LLM model, which is a milestone to the Arabic AI. So I also worked on another project also, which is text-to-speech and speech-to-text.
Yeah.
So on both projects, my team and I tested, evaluated, and gathered data, which did not only focus on Arabic. Our goal was to focus on the Emirati dialect, so that it can be used in our government sectors, in our industries, on every face customer application that they can be used of. So yeah, it was a great change.
And actually working in Inception actually gave you that momentum to understand, to grow technically in this field.
They've provided us with the tools, with the people to gather data. They also launched a quadratic program, like a full Emirati people, just to gather data and evaluate these models so that we can give feedback on how and to improve these models. And right now, we reached the level that these models can listen and understand Emirati dialect on a great accuracy.
Very good. Shamma, if I go back to Presight, and I know you're working in a different domain as well with the analytics and everything, but your work, your domain, is actually taking a concept, build the business case, and then introduce it to the different sectors that you're applying to. So going through that process, how did you find taking AI from a conceptual or a theoretical perspective into building a tool, building a concept that you actually can build a business case around it and sell it through. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So actually AI right now is becoming the norms. So it's not something that stands out or is that out of the ordinary. For the UAE, it's becoming something that's embedded in every entity, whether it's the private, whether it's the sectors, and the different industries that you have. Today, as my experience in Presight, what we actually try to do, and being an Emirati national today, gives us an understanding of the Emirati landscape and the use cases that we know are of potential and there's opportunity to enhance efficiency and enhance operations with.
And how do you manage the expectation? I know when you're dealing with different clients, some are very skeptical about some certain use cases, and others are very excited and they would go beyond the actual capability.
I think now it's not about selling that feeling to them that they need to embed AI, but actually showcasing value. So the way we do it as Presight is we do run an IOC and we ensure that the client sees the impact very early on. And then if they are happy with the results and we're able to showcase that impact, we later on scale up. And today, even as Presight and as the UAE, we don't only foresee that these platforms are going to fulfill an objective that this entity is trying to achieve, but we're more ambitious. We want to ensure that it touches national indicators such as food securities, GDP. We want to ensure that it touches that, and also further exporting these success stories and these successful Emirati IPs to the world and internationally and globally.
So you're basically building that intimate relationship with the client. On one hand, you try to ease the concern about disrupting the current operations and get them excited about how do you actually apply it and how it's going to add value to their day-to-day operations and so forth, correct?
Absolutely. Relationship is important, and I think one main thing is to build trust. And when you're able to showcase value, this is where you start gaining the trust and you leverage on that.
It's very exciting. Afra, if I can come back to you, of course. At Khazna, you're ensuring that the data centers that power AI and reliable, efficient, and source. What does it mean to be an Emirati woman working in this critical but often invisible layer of the AI? So you're actually working behind the scenes, right? You're creating the momentum, you're creating the computing power for us to actually build those applications and everything. So how do you feel about that? And you can maybe elaborate about your work in Khazna.
Perfect. I mean, statistically speaking, it's no stranger that in data center, only 10% of the workforce is actually women. And I think if you want to mention what Emirati women form from that, I wouldn't throw a guess in, but I'm sure we'll go exponentially lower than 10%, right? However, I want to take this from another angle. A brain is a brain, regardless if it belongs to a man, a woman, an Emirati or not. It's about your intellectual value that you bring it in. When I walk into Khazna, I'm working with my intellectual value that I'm bringing into the table. What basically differs me as an Emirati woman or an Emirati in general is the pride that I'm holding going in. It's the national sense of actually feeling proud of building the foundation layer that's supporting the AI vision today. And I agree with you. We were for a long time seen invisible. I mean, talk to me 3 GITEXs ago when I'm trying to explain to people what data center is, okay? However, I would like to now invite everyone after the panel to visit us at the Khazna stand and witness firsthand how this perception has changed only because of AI.
And how did Khazna actually, or the leadership in Khazna, supported you during this endeavor, and how did they help you grow in this domain?
Exactly, you touched on a sensitive point because I actually owe all of this to the leadership. I was part of the graduate trainee program 3 years ago. So I was poached out of the university, trained for a year on the basics of AI, on the data center foundation, got the credentials that are actually renowned in terms of profession. And then I was handled the responsibility and the trust to actually take care of 1 data center, then 2, then a fleet of up to 3 and 4 data centers. And then now I'm actually handling the international growth market expansion of Khazna, taking this product that successfully harbored the AI foundation locally and drive it overseas. So that wouldn't have been capable without believing in the Emirati power and in the requirements of AI.
So they actually gave you the right support, especially
Exactly.
that you're going in at that time, working in data centers. It's a field that, you know, dominated by men.
Definitely.
Did you feel like a stranger, or you fit in very quickly, and the work system actually helped you?
Okay, in terms of culture, you feel in pretty quickly, and I think we all can agree with that on a G42 level, not only on Khazna. Definitely intimidating, walking into a data center, being the only woman at that time in Dubai, but then we grew quickly and we grew comfortably, and I think intimidation is a good feeling sometimes, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that's very good to see. Mohammed, if I can come back to you, and you're actually in the business continuity at the G42, right? So if I ask you about, and I'll ask the question very quickly, but then we can have a conversation about it. So how do you think about preparing for the unexpected, and what role do Emiratis play in ensuring AI development is not just fast, but sustainable and responsible?
So this is a very complicated question, I would say.
Yeah.
Basically, I've taken it into two parts. The first part is how do we make sure that whenever we adopt to AI, we adopt to it when it is reliable? Because if we look around us nowadays, AI has an impact on everyone.
Yeah.
AI has an impact on people's life. You could relate to that in Space 42 when the extreme weather was hitting the UAE last year. The capabilities of AI was utilized to support people on ground. When COVID hits, AI was also utilized to support people life. So while developing that, we need to make sure that AI capabilities that we develop, the infrastructure also that Khazna is developing, is resilient. It has the capabilities to recover and ensure continuity of operation, even if there is a disruption.
So you're actually basically trying to balance between what the innovation is bringing and
Yes.
what risk management are you putting in place, correct?
Yes, yeah. So you need to balance it between the agility of AI and the control that you need to put in place to make sure that AI works properly. And I think a good example of how our leadership are committed towards AI, G42 is the first private sector entity that got certified by the National Crisis and Emergency Management Authority with the NCEMA certifications. And I think that shows how important is the resiliency of our organization and the resiliency of AI that plays a huge role in the UAE, in our lives, in government, in enterprise, and in the private sector.
And coming to the point that we just mentioned in the beginning of our panel, that culturally we are digitized, right? And especially this generation, your generation. So to actually understand the digital world and the digitization required before applying AI and everything, the foundation that requires the clarity of data that you have, that connects, you know, neurally all the different information into the AI tools that Salam and the team actually, Khaled, sorry, and the team work on. That is some part of the registries that you always build on, and to make sure that the continuity, sustainability of such data is actually accurate and more profound, correct?
Exactly, and I think this is something all the business continuity practitioners could relate to.
Okay.
That our previous business continuity planning and arrangement was focused on humans and facilities.
Yeah.
But nowadays, when you go to an organization to establish a business continuity program or to support them on their resiliency, the most of the focus is going to be on technologies, in connections, in data availabilities, and how to build your disaster recoveries, backup and restoration, and all of those elements. So it's becoming more high critical towards the UAE, and I think there is a huge enforcement in regulations and controls from the UAE government in order to make sure that whatever practices that we establish in our organizations or in the government sectors that could impact people's life have a resilient aspect in it and could meet the expectation of the UAE. And I think previously people would expect a downtime in every applications, that it's acceptable to have few hours of downtime. But within the current reality, it's not expected.
It's all totally different and totally adaptable, and you're adapting very quickly to this, and the G42 environment within the risk management is actually building the momentum on that. Right, that's great, but Now let's go a little bit more specific, and this question is all for you. We've talked about, in general, what we're doing, all the different domains that you're working on, but can you share with me like a specific project that you're working with, a specific story that you have about your work through or through your tenure with the G42 ecosystem and how that applied? Let's start with you, and then we'll walk backward.
Definitely. So I'll share two quick things, okay? When we said that we first started building data centers for AI just around 2 years ago, I missed to also mention that we were the first in the region to ever do that. And we managed to be the first to actually deploy and activate GPU load in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So that not only put the UAE in the landmark, but it positioned us to be favorable for these hyperscalers to advance the AI technology. And what's the result of that? Stargate. So I'm incredibly proud. I think I'm beyond proud. I don't know if there's a word in the English dictionary that can explain, but to be able to win the trust of your leadership to build the biggest AI data center campus in the world and to bring it home, which is arguably the most important infrastructure project right now, I think that wins.
And it didn't come from nowhere. It came because of the uptime that you have, achieving all the different milestones at Khazna, the growth that Khazna have shown, give the ability for our leadership to actually say, this is the trusted partner that can take this forward and build the momentum there, right?
Exactly.
Shamma, on the other hand, I think you're in a totally different domain, but there are so many projects and so many stores, I believe, but you can share with us maybe one that is very dear to you.
Sure. Let me talk about the platform that we have developed for Department of Energy. So it is the first of its kind energy and water consumption platform that onboards the full ecosystem, the energy vertical ecosystem within Abu Dhabi and the UAE potentially. And this platform is actually very interesting because it showcases the distribution of water, for example, on farms, monitoring the distribution of water on the farms and irrigation, so on and so forth, so that decision makers can make critical decisions when it comes to what they need to power and where they need to power it. And like I earlier said, when we work on a project, it needs to be very strategic, and this touches on national indicators like food security, for example. So when you ensure that you have the right consumption to farms, this also, in parallel, also adds value in terms of food security.
Do you feel going through, sitting down with clients and operations within the operations domain specifically, and you tell them, I can bring this to boost your efficiency, boost your, or change or disrupt the current operations? Do you feel a sort of criticism from those operations or any defense against, what you're trying to propose versus what they actually currently are working on and maybe the legacy of the system that they're working on? I'm sure you went through a lot of cases like that. If you can share some actual examples.
Absolutely. I'm sure every government entity has different systems in place and, business as usual. But when they understand the value that a unified platform can come together, when all the stakeholders' data is in one place and they can make informative decisions as leadership and as management, it showcases real value, and it shows that at the end of the day, it's an integration of all systems. So business as usual, but more on a strategic level to make more strategic decisions. Now we do things a little bit differently. Before we used to go and say, these are our solutions, these are our products, what would you like to do? And now we reverse engineered it. So we go and what we see is, where's the opportunity or where is the pain point that we can resolve, ensure that we have that piece of the puzzle and then come and fit it in, instead of trying to fit in a piece of the puzzle that is not a part of the puzzle. So it's all about reverse engineering, it's all about value creation, and it's all about ensuring that everything is unified and easy to use.
And as you mentioned, right, you start with building the IOC or the initial operating capability to build the momentum, to build the confidence, and then you take it step by step.
Absolutely.
But now it's changing, right? It's much faster than a few years ago with the adoption of AI and everything. So
everything is fast-tracked now. Yeah.
Great, great. What about you, Khaled? Of course, you work in Inception, so there's a lot of projects that you're working on. You can give us an example?
One of the projects, let's say, I would like to share, and using platforms like Let's Do Analysis and these things, we've known to use it in English, but what about using it like in our Emirati dialect, feeling freely to just give these prompts?
Talking
and-
about the large language models, the LLMs.
and in our Emirati dialect, and it just gives you what the outcomes you need, like in terms of like text or like you speak to it, and it like fully understands what you say. I think when sitting with the clients and talking about this, like they seem to be amazed and okay, why not having it? Like we can use it in both languages, which makes me proud in connecting innovation with our culture.
And working through that project, working to build that LLM model, of course, gave you a lot of experience, a lot of expertise in this domain, right?
Yeah.
Can you share with us the process that you were going through with the team? How were you building this LLM? What challenges you went through?
Let's say one of the challenges is like in Emirati, we have like it is a dialect, but we as Emiratis know like people like they have a different accent.
Exactly,
So
yes.
teaching the model different accents was one of the most like hardest part. We should categorize it. Okay, this is good. Okay, this is people say this, people say this, people say this. They are all acceptable, and different words lead to the same meaning. Like let's say in English. So that was the hard part. And with
Mohammed?
Inception,
Yeah, go ahead.
we were able to do that. We
So-
had the full support. We have the team. We have the platform and like the infrastructure.
And it helped grow you as well as an individual in terms of experience working on such large language model as well, correct?
She's laughing
And I
because
see
she
you're
was,
seeing the different team members, I believe, or?
yeah, she was working with us also.
That's great, that's great. And Mohammed, from your side.
So just to add one point to what Khaled mentioned, and I'm really impressed with that LLM model that they created. So you asked it to create a poet. It could create it with general Arabic language, but then you ask to create a poet with the UAE dialogue. It would be able to do that. But again, here is only Emirati could relate to this one. I asked it to create a poet using Rashid al-Khadar style, which is a famous Emirati poetry. It was able to create and do that, and that was really one of the things that really impressed me. Now, going to the challenges that we have at work and experience to be shared, I know that I'm working as a support functions. I will not be able to give some nice examples as my colleagues, but being able to go through...
But you're contributing to the foundation.
Yes, yeah, we are supporting their implementation, going through the implementation, reviewing, supporting, providing, identifying risk that could impact organization and helping people to mitigate that risk. And to build resilience in organization does really plays an important factor in our organization continuity. So that's really what I'm proud of and what brings me to my work every day in the morning. That's what
That's
keep
great.
me
And,
working.
and as we say, nothing is perfect and there's always room to grow. So if we reflect back on your journeys and what AI is evolving to become right now, what messages do you have to other Emiratis, first of all? And two, what would be, what do you think that could actually help even attract more Emirati talent into this domain and into this field? And as we go through, if there are anything related to that that you could share with young Emiratis about this, or something that you can see that could add value to our educational system or through our on-job training systems and so forth. I see that you're eager to say something, so we'll start with Khaled.
I'll start. So I see what I see in Emiratis think like the young people, they think that AI is too distant. It's something so complicated, which is not. I feel having it like having an early exposure to AI would suit the best. Like having it in high schools, the basic and the fundamentals of AI, and what also like AI. What I learned in AI isn't selected for few. It's open to anyone who has the eager to learn, who want to contribute to this industry. Like you can go through it.
But do you see, and maybe Shamma, you can help me with this, do you see challenges for this generation right now as they go through this evolution of AI from the old school teaching to the new, or I wouldn't say old school, but the old way of teaching into this applying AI and utilizing AI? coming from being able to go through a certain search or whatever into becoming more about asking the right question and being able to derive the question out of the AI system. What do you think needs to change? How do you think they can adapt? What advice you would have to for them?
Just to respond to that, I actually see the new generation are very embedded with AI. They use it to translate to text. They don't want to even write a word anymore. So they use the voice to text, and then they translate text to different languages. So it's very easy for them. They love it. I think the new generation are more empowered, and they love using it. So I think we are also trying to follow the leadership's ambition for Emiratis to drive this AI vision and this AI strategy. And like I mentioned, the UAE is one of the first countries to launch AI strategies and AI initiatives internationally. So I think from the kids to mid-age people, even to grown-ups, everyone's envisioning and embodying AI into their day-to-day life, into their day-to-day jobs, so on and so forth. So I really think the UAE and Emiratis are really, taking this as the norms. Previously, when we used to take a calculator to a math exam, we were not allowed to, right? Because they want to see how much we know. And then it was allowed to bring a calculator to an exam. So it will be the same. I see this is the future. So so now you're not allowed to use, the likes of ChatGPT, so on and so forth, to get some work done. But I think later on that would actually be the calculator that you can take with you to the exam. So I think that's happening.
Just to elaborate on what you're saying, the other day I was with a young student at the Khalifa University. And he's studying electronics engineer. I've studied electronics engineer, but of course, a couple of decades ago. And I was talking to him about, the hardware design language. We call it the Verilog hardware design language, the VHDL. And I was telling him, we used to build the AND gates and NOR gates and OR gates and everything. Do you still do that? I said, no. We currently set up the ChatGPT, figure out the model, and then, we apply it. And I say, at our time, we used to have this DOS programming language that, when you're setting up like a rotary motor or whatever, and you have to set up the program for it, and you go through the programming. Do you do that anymore? He said, no, I just give it exactly what I need, and it gives me everything, and I copy and paste. So I think the education is going to become much faster, which is great, which is brilliant. But in the meantime, how do we apply it to become something more intriguing to the mind, right? Maybe in our ages, to go through a certain search, to go through some linear or non-linear mathematical equations and apply it from an engineering perspective was very exciting. Now in a world where all these mathematics are there and everything is there, what would be the exciting model? How do you distinguish between a very smart mind and then, a person that is just too good to utilize the ChatGPT? And who is better, actually? These are all the questions that we're going through. And I'll start with you, Mohammed, because I see you smiling. What do you think about that?
So I know it's a quote, but I don't use it that much. It's always give your task to the lazy person, because he will do it faster and he will deliver faster and utilize the best resources. But yeah, it's going to be challenging to distinguish between great minds and AI, because I think the vision is that AI should be equal to more than 1,000 great minds. And it is challenging for us. I think it's going to be easier for the coming generation to adopt to that. But the things that scares me is that in the future, I need to go to my kids to ask them on how to use this and how to do that. And they will be able to know how to utilize AI and how to get a better outcome better than me. So everyone needs to be more adaptive towards AI. Try, utilize as much as you can. And yeah, I think in a certain time you will not be able to distinguish between a great student and a student who is really good in using AI.
Afra, you want to elaborate on this?
I've been listening to what all of you have been saying, and I think there is a common denominator. I would like to invite all of you to look at this from another angle, because I think we are at an era where you need to work smarter and not harder, and that's the perfect example. AI is an equalizer. You no longer need to write 20 pages of notes or do the homework first. You can have the same result by writing the correct question, as you've said. So it's about trying to work as least as possible, but gain as much as possible. And that's the leverage of AI, which is why I like to call it the great equalizer. How can we benefit from this, and how can we invite the new generation? And I think we don't need to actually do anything. It's on the people, because you are in a nation where you have the best leadership. You have initiatives going on top to bottom, bottom to top. You have enablement from both the government and the private sector. It's an invitation now to Emiratis and to everyone actually to just leap. The world is your oyster in the UAE. If you take the initiative, if you take the leap of faith, whether you're gonna work smart or hard, you need to take that step, and that step would come towards you. That's the privilege of being here. So I think the invite is about having take that, I would say, leap of faith, jump in, and you're gonna see that especially here, the world will meet you more than halfway through the road.
That's great, and I'll start again with you saying, okay, well, to be honest, I don't really like this question, but I think now with this AI world that we're living in, maybe it's more suitable. How do you envision the next, what's the next 5 years gonna look like from your own perspective? What will change?
Well, I hate this question too, just to make you feel better.
Okay.
It's actually quite tricky, but I'll tell you something. It's a good answer that I don't know, because in 2 years, the world has changed in such remarkable ways. We have cars that are flying, we have robots that are doing human jobs, we have an Emirati LLM that's writing poets like Rashid al-Khadar. So I don't know how it's gonna be, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be so amazing.
Yes.
The invite is to join in. We at G42 and at Khazna are making everything possible to transform the human life to a different level when it comes to quality.
I really like the excitement of all our young Emiratis, you know, really encouraging to join as well G42. That really reflects how attached they are to their work and everything. Thank you so much for
You're
this.
most welcome.
We'll have more conversations later on.
Yeah.
But I also want to thank Fahim for this opportunity to moderate with you. It's his idea, his concept, and I truly appreciate the time that we have with them. Thank you, Fahim. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Khaled, Shamma, and Afra. Thank you all.
Thank you all.